top of that, I apologize for my page numbers on these here. That tip of that next page, you guys can see it says there, it says Zimmerman, right? How many of you guys remember the big case with George Zimmerman down in Florida? You guys remember that? That was very much in the news. So I don't have a dog in the fight, and I'm not here to pick sides and say George Zimmerman was right and George Zimmerman was wrong. That's not what I'm here for. But there are a lot of lessons, a lot of takeaways that we can all gain from that experience. So first off, one of the things in regard to that scenario with Zimmerman was it's not a home invasion. There was no one breaking into his home. But the castle doctrine, the stand your ground, all of that was invoked. It was invoked because was he in a place that he had a right to legally be? And the answer is yes. He was out walking around in his apartment complex, so he had a right to legally be there. So that came up. And was he obligated under Florida state law to run away if he was confronted, physically or otherwise? No. What were his injuries? The injuries that George Zimmerman sustained was he sustained a broken nose and he sustained a 2-stitch size cut on the back of his head. So if we looked at those injuries and we said broken nose and cut on the back of his head, did those injuries constitute or rise to a need to use deadly force? Well, in his mind, the answer is yes, because he did. He did use deadly force. And it went to trial and he was acquitted. So at least in his mind, and at least in the mind of the jurors, they said yes. And when we talked about A leads to B leads to C, what did Zimmerman say? Zimmerman said that he had a verbal confrontation with this guy. He got hit in the face, that broke his nose. He fell to the pavement, and then that guy mounted him, began pounding him in the face, and the back of his head was colliding with the pavement. He started to see stars, things started to go dim, and as the tunnel was closing in, he took and drew his firearm, and he fired 1 round, and he killed that individual who was on top of him. We didn't get his version of the events. He's not around to give us his story, right? But again, did that go to a trial, and did they look at that and make an assessment and say, was this reasonable or not reasonable? Did everybody have an opinion on that case? We heard a lot of opinions, and a lot of those opinions were kind of crazy, all right? They were pretty out there, and a lot of those opinions were uninformed. But nonetheless, it did get adjudicated. There's a lot of things that Zimmerman, in our opinion, did wrong. We'll talk about those things. We'll talk about some of those. But nonetheless, he was acquitted for what went down there. Let's talk about this thing with good guys and bad guys. So there are certain types of force that if you are a good guy or a good gal, we use force as good people to what? To de-escalate. Bad guys use force to escalate. What do I mean by that? If a bad guy walks up to a girl in a parking garage and he punches her in the face and he begins dragging her towards his van, the punch is nothing compared to where he wants to take this. The punch is to escalate the behavior. If I take, and I've got 2 guys that are trying to rob me, and I punch a guy in the face, I'm punching him in the face in order to do what? To end this encounter and get away. Now that's on a punch. What if I shoot somebody? Believe it or not, if I shoot somebody, I'm shooting them so I don't have to shoot them anymore. That sounds a little strange, doesn't it, right? If I run you over with my car, I'm running you over with my car so I don't have to run you over with my car anymore. If you're on the side of good, we use force to de-escalate. You guys understand that? We use it to calm things down. I don't want to use force, but I will use force to make things calm down. On the margin over there, you guys see there's a white cowboy hat and there's a black cowboy hat. And the reason for that is because the type of action or activity that's being used, it matters whether you're a good guy or gal or you're a bad guy or gal. What type of force it is. Let me give you guys an example. So let's talk about pepper spray. Right? Everybody knows what pepper spray is? Yeah? Okay. What's pepper spray? Is it deadly force or not deadly force? What would you guys say if I told you pepper spray is deadly force? Would you disagree with me? Would you disagree? Okay? You're right, and maybe we need to tweak that a little bit. You have to ask me who's using it. So, I'll give you an example. We have a police officer and he's fighting with a shoplifter. He catches a shoplifter and they're fighting, and the guy won't comply, and the police officer pulls out his pepper spray and he pepper sprays that guy. Deadly force? No, not deadly force. But what if that police officer's fighting with that guy and that bad guy grabs the police officer's pepper spray? And he gets his pepper spray and he comes out and he goes to spray the police officer. What's that? It is deadly force. It is. Why?
Because it could escalate.
Not it could, it's going to. If a bad guy does that to a good guy, right? A leads to what? B leads to what? C. What else is on that police officer's belt? His gun. So you're gonna use pepper spray on me to disorient me, take away my ability to defend myself, and now I'm very vulnerable, yes? Police officers tase people all the time, constantly, right? They pull out this ray gun and they shoot 50,000 volts of electricity through a person. They do it all the time. I've been tased, you've been tased. Yeah, it sucks, right? It's awful, it sucks. All right, so not deadly force. What happens if a bad guy gets a hold of a cop's taser? What's that? What happens if that cop gets tased? He's immobile, right? He's immobile and he's doing the funky chicken. What's that bad guy gonna do? Take his gun, come up and stomp his head to death, right? While you're frozen. So who wears what?